Hello everyone, welcome to our microcontroller and embedded systems class 17C62. We will continue our module 2 Cortex M3 programming topic. Okay, uh, this is part B of the module 2 Cortex M3 programming. Now this is lecture number 2. In the previous class we saw the lecture number 1. In that we saw the overview and the hierarchical flow of the programming concept by writing a C programming. Okay, what are the steps we need to be followed, and while writing a C programming, what are the constraints will come into picture, like creating a .c file, compiling, getting .o file, object file, and we getting .eif file. Okay, and finally we're getting the binary file in C programming concept. And in assembly language program, the flow is similar, but we are saving the file as .s extension in assembly language program. Then we are getting the compiling it. We will be getting an object file, and after finally we will be linking that part. We will be getting an EIF part .eif file, and at the end we will be generating the disassembled code. That was about the previous class. The topics we covered, and we saw the few of the in that class also we saw few commands. Okay, the commands which can be used to compile the program, link the program, and generation of the binary program, and generate the disassembly code while writing a C programming and assembly programming. We saw these two ways of creating program and executing them by commands in the command prompt. And also before executing this, we need to set some parameters. We saw how to set the paths, how to set the CPU time, how to set the clock cycle time. Okay, and these are all the parameters we saw. And in today's class, we will continue our Cortex M3 programming. Okay, the important thing is we mentioned that we can write the embedded systems application program using Cortex M3 microcontroller. But we need some platform, right? For that, Cortex M3 got its own interface standard called Cortex M3 Software Interface Standard. In short, it's called as CMSIS. Today's class is about Cortex microcontroller M3 Software Interface Standard, CMSIS. I welcome you all to the Cortex M3 programming class. We'll begin our class. Today's topic is about CMSIS. CMSIS stands for Cortex Microcontroller M3 Software Interface Standard. Okay, the topics we are going to cover in this CMSIS. First one is the background. Okay, what is the need of this separate Cortex M3 Software Interface Standard, and what are the aims of it? Okay, when did it develop, why it is developed, and what are the aims of it? And next, we'll try to see, after knowing the aims of it, how they are differing from other microcontroller, other interface standards, other microcontroller interface standards, how they are efficient compared to other microcontrollers. Means we will look at the areas of standardization, and we will see the organization of the library files. Okay, we will see what is the meaning of organization with respect to Cortex M3, and we'll, after knowing this, the reason of CMSIS evolved, okay, started, and their standardization, their organization. Then we need to use it, right? How to use that one also we'll see. Okay, and at the last of this topic, we'll see the benefits of using this CMSIS. Let's start the class. Okay. Background of CMSIS. CMSIS, I repeat again, Cortex M3 Software Interface Standard. It was started in 2018 by ARM. Okay, it was developed by ARM company in 2008. Why? Because to improve the software usability and interoperability of ARM microcontroller software. Okay, please see here. It was developed particularly for ARM microcontroller. Okay, ARM microcontroller software, Keel or MTK. Okay, it was developed to improve the software usability and interoperability. It is developed purposely for the users of the Cortex M3 microcontrollers, who are the designers, embedded design engineers, who are developing their applications using Cortex M3 microcontroller, Cortex M3 microcontroller for their application development, for their benefit, for their ease of use. This was developed. Why? To gain the most benefit from all these software solutions, to allow them to develop their embedded application quickly and reliably. To gain the benefits and to develop quickly and reliably. Quickly means using C programming, we can develop the application in a short span of time, because with the number of helping facilities available in this CMSIS. Okay. We will try to construct the CMSIS, the device driver library with the software and hardware. Okay. We'll try to construct the figure of the CMSIS working with the software and hardware part. This figure is a CMSIS standardized access interface for embedded software products. While developing embedded system application, how this CMSIS cope-ups with software part, means the programming part, and the hardware parts. Okay, the hardware may be any architecture. It may be a Cortex architecture, M0 architecture, Cortex M1 architecture, Cortex M3 architecture. How it establishes a communication between software and hardware. Okay, we are constructing a figure. Okay, with respect to using of CMSIS. Okay, when we write application in C programming, how can we, or assembly language, using Cortex M3 instruction. Okay, but how that programming can be mapped to the different Cortex family processors. Okay, it may be M0, M1, M3. Okay, we'll try to construct. You are seeing right now the CMSIS is the device driver library. CMSIS, okay, coping up with the software. It cope-ups with the software and microcontroller hardware. Software means the programming languages. Hardware means it may be any Cortex M3, Cortex M series, not only M3, Cortex M series board. Board means the hardware part. Okay, it consists of an LCD, buttons, other different USB port, other ports you might have used in your ARM lab. Okay, the software part consists, coming to software part, it consists of an application software, embedded OS, and middleware. Okay, software part consists of an application software, embedded OS, and middleware. Application software is nothing but the program which you write for an LCD, the program which you write for a keypad. Okay, that is the application software. And embedded OS is nothing but the OS or the operating system for developing embedded application, and middleware. All this will be communicated with CMSIS. How the communication is done and how this can be established relation with the hardware, we'll see. Before that, we'll see what are the available microcontroller hardware families the CMSIS can cope up with. The CMSIS can cope up with Cortex M3 series, Cortex M0 series, and Cortex M1 series. Okay, now we got the software details and microcontroller hardware details. So the CMSIS acts as a interface standard between these softwares, and these hardwares. Okay, you can see the application software, embedded OS, middleware, all are related with the CMSIS. Okay, the CMSIS can able to establish a communication between all these softwares. Okay, then it will easily, it will help in easy transfer of these applications to the board, the Cortex M3 board, Cortex M0 board, or Cortex M1 board. Okay, this is how the CMSIS, the Cortex microcontroller M3 software interface standard, will act as a interfacing agent between these software and microcontroller boards. Okay, this is the actual picture. Okay, this was the we constructed this picture. Now the CMSIS is integrated into different driver libraries. Okay, these driver libraries are provided by different silicon vendors. CMSIS integration, sorry, yeah, it is a CMIS. Pardon me for that. It is CMSIS integration with driver libraries will be helpful in. Why we need driver libraries? Because it can cope up with Cortex M3, Cortex M1, Cortex M2. So there will be different libraries come into picture. So we need to use the driver libraries with respect to the different boards. Okay. So the CMSIS integration with the driver libraries will provides, means it helps with a standardized software interface for the Cortex M3 processor features, as well as a number of common system and input-output functions. Okay. The library is also supported by software companies, including embedded OS vendors and compiler vendors. This last line is very much important because the Cortex, the ARM family, they will not sell. Instead they will give the license of their product, of the softwares in the products, so that different companies can use their softwares and products and develop their own applications by using ARM. So, the line, the last paragraph is very much important because there will be different embedded manufacturing, embedded application development companies, um, and so and also there will be different compiler vendors. The different compiler means the software. The aims, let us look at the aims of the CMSIS. The aim we saw in the first slide, to improve the software portability and reusability. To improve the software part. What software part? The portability of the software and reusability. Portability means can use the program in different OS platform, OS based architectures. It will be running Windows based, Linux based, like, and reusability of the code. Enables software solution suppliers to develop products that can work seamlessly with the device libraries from various silicon vendors. This we saw in the previous slide. So it will help by integration with the CMSIS, integration with the device libraries, it can enables different supply vendors. It helps in different supply vendors, silicon vendors, to develop the software solution. Third point, it allows embedded developers to develop software quicker with an easy to use and standardized software interface. This also we saw in the first slide. It was developed for quick application development and also reliability. And fourth point is allow embedded software to be used on multiple compiler products. There are different compilers. Okay, compiler means your IDEs. Okay, you can use the design engineers, the embedded design engineers can write the program. Okay, for a Cortex M3 series or M0 series or M1 series, and they can use different compilers to test their code. Okay, avoid device driver compatibility issues. The last point is very much important. Okay, device driver compatibility issues when using software solutions from multiple sources. Okay, there will be issue of compatibility. Compatibility means matching. Okay, when you write a code for a particular board and you need that particular device driver libraries. Okay, this is avoided by using CMSIS. It provides the device driver library which will support for with respect to the board Cortex M series. It may be Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M3. So by using CMSIS, it will help the program to map with all these boards with their common device library. Okay, hope the aims are clear. The aims are nothing new. These aims which we already saw in the second slide and the third slide. Next, we'll look at the areas of standardization. The areas they are standardized, they looked into are HAL, hardware abstraction layer. This is not the HAL. This is not the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. This is HAL means with respect to Cortex M3, it is hardware abstraction layer for Cortex M processor registers. It may be M0, M1, M3. Next, the standardized system exception means the standardized method of header file organization, common method for system initialization, standardized intrinsic functions, common access functions for communication, standardized way for embedded software to determine system clock frequency. So the each one of when I read out, okay, hope you got an idea. Okay, hardware abstraction layer means with respect to registers. Okay, we got a memory map for Cortex M3. Okay, there are different registers. Then exception, system exception means giving a standard names to the exceptions. And the header files which we use, it may be any C programming stdio.io.h, or it may be a device.h, or it may be a Cortex M3.h, any header file.h. It has a standardized method of organizing those header files. And system initialization. Okay, when we are when we are developing an application, we need to initialize the system before working on it. Okay, for that there is a common method. Okay, then intrinsic functions. We saw about the intrinsic functions. Okay, using of the big intrinsic functions. I will keep it out. It is nothing but we will be developing our application using purely with the help of C programming. But the C programming is a general purpose programming. It cannot have the some of the library files with respect to the hardware book. So we can use the Cortex M3 library files inside the C program. Okay, those functions, it may be a rotating function, it may be a shifting function, it may be a reversing function. We can use the instruction of the Cortex M3 inside our C program. Those are called intrinsic functions. Okay, there is a standardized intrinsic functions for Cortex M3 and common access functions for communication. Okay, and the last one is embedded software system clock frequency. Okay, there's a standard system clock frequency which will be which will be determined. Okay, we will try to explore one by one. About HAL, hardware abstraction layer for Cortex microcontroller processor. This includes definitions for NVIC. What is NVIC? Nested Vector Interrupt Controller. Yes, you are correct. Nested Vector Interrupt Controller. Okay, this HAL will include the standardized registers for NVIC, like system control block registers, pardon me for editing now. Okay, what are the standardized registers definitions which are defined for NVIC? System control block registers, SysTick registers. Sys means SYS means system only. Okay, SysTick register, MPU registers, and a number of NVIC and core feature access functions. Okay, this is about how the HL supports for registers for NVIC. Next, system exception. Okay, the CMSIS allows the OS and middleware to use system exceptions easily without compatible issues. Compatibility means the CMSIS you saw, it can cope up with the Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M3, different microcontroller architectures. So the exceptions may be few common or maybe different. Okay, so from in M0, M1, M3. So this CMSIS has standardly defined all the exceptions of M0, M1, M3 within it. Okay, okay, there are all the system exceptions of M0, M1, M3 available in CMSIS. Okay, so this provides no compatibility issues. Okay, you don't need to switch the software, the IDE, while developing application using M3 or while developing applications using Cortex M0 or M1. Standardized method of header file organization. What does this mean? We need, while writing a C program, we require header files for input functions, for output functions, like, for example, stdio.h means hash include stdio.h means standard input output header file. This is a simple example I'm giving. Okay, to use to display functions means printf function. To make the printf function to work in your C programming, you need to use this stdio.h library. Okay, and to get the input, you need to use scanf function. Okay, to get the input from the receiver, like entering his name, okay, or resetting, okay, all these inputs, these are entering name, resetting, button press, barcode, scanning, all these are inputs. Okay, when in C program we require input function and output functions. Okay, input function is scanf. In order to you make sure that printf works, the scanf works, we require stdio.h to be included at the beginning of the program. This is called header files. Header files are nothing but the, the short form of the already defined functions in a single. Okay, there is a separate file of the header files where it includes all the functionality, how to process the output, how to process, how to take the input. All this will be in a separate file, but we don't want to include all those big, large number of lines in our program. Just we need to use that file name. Okay, that file name will be saved as header files. Okay, so we need to include the header files. This is about the meaning of header file. The CMSIS gives the standard method of header file organization. Okay, this makes it easier for user to learn new Cortex microcontroller products and improves software portability. And the next, system initialization. It has made a common method for system initialization. Initialization is nothing, the startup. Before using the board, you should make sure you should initialize the system for with some initial values. Each microcontroller unit, MCU means microcontroller unit, vendor provides a system init. That system, this I is, this is I, not L, this is I. Okay, this is capital I. Okay, this is the function name, system init. You need to use the same case. Okay, you're not supposed to write in programs. This is the parenthesis means a function. This is the name of the function. The parenthesis signifies a function. This is one of the function name. Okay, you need to write the same characters. Okay, you're not supposed to use full capital letters or small letters. Okay, please remember this is system initialization function. Okay, in their device driver library for essential setup and configuration, such as initialization of clocks. Okay, if you take an example, when you purchase a mobile phone, okay, what you will do? You will set the time, right? We'll set the time. So to set the time, there should be a feature which allows setting of the time. You can relate to this one. This is an analogy. Okay, there is a system init function to initialize the system. Okay, next about interesting functions. Interesting functions are normally used to produce instructions that cannot be generated by IEC or ISO-C. IEC and ISO are nothing but the standard. C is nothing but a C programming. C is nothing but a C programming. To write the C programming, there is a set of standardized guidelines provided by IEC and ISO. IEC and ISO are the standardized organizations. They provide set of guidelines and instructions to write the C programming. Okay, so what is saying instructions which cannot be generated by C. Okay, intrinsic functions. First line it is saying, first para is saying that about the intrinsic function. Intrinsic functions are nothing but the functions which cannot be, are the instructions which cannot be easily generated by the C. Okay, those are with respect to the microcontroller family. That functions can be used in C. By having standardized intrinsic functions, software usability and portability are considerably improved. Okay, we saw the meaning of the intrinsic function. By standardizing this intrinsic function through CMSIS, we can make sure the software usability and portability can be improved. Next, common functions. For communications. For communications, communication means receiving, transmitting. This is a simple one, right? Communication is always related to the receiving and transferring. There are different circuits and different devices for communication, internal communication, external communication. Okay, different buses are also I2C, Bluetooth, like this. Okay, we'll see what are the communication devices they are the standards. Okay, how they made common. Okay, there's a common access functions for communications. This This making of common access provides a set of software interface functions. Okay, like UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. Okay, we said communication means receiver transmitter. They made a common communication interface. Okay, for UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, Ethernet, and SPI, Serial Peripheral Interfaces. Serial Peripheral Interface is nothing but it is with respect to the hardware. Okay. Okay, they have made common interfaces, communication interface for these devices, UART device, Ethernet, and SPI. By having these common access functions in the device library, I repeat again, device driver library is with respect to the CMSAS. Okay, we can make the programming portability and programming reusability. Okay, of embedded software. Okay. Standardized, we have embedded software to determine system clock frequency. We saw about system initialization, and we will see, we took an example of initializing the clock in the previous system initialization. We'll see how to determine the system clock frequency. Okay. A software variable called system frequency is defined in device driver code. Okay. There is a system frequency. There is a the system frequency, okay, which is defined in the driver code, which is defined in the driver code, okay, which helps in determining our clock frequency. Clock frequency means the rate at which the clock works. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 hour 60 minutes, 1 minute 60 seconds. So the change of second should be, the interval of changing of seconds 1, 2, 3, that interval should be same, right? So there is a system frequency. This allows embedded OS to set up the SysTick unit based on the system frequency. The name itself tells system frequency and SysTick. System frequency and SysTick. These are the system frequency. It will be included to determine our clock frequency. And SysTick is the instruction. Is the function, is the instruction or a variable name for system clock frequency setting. Okay, these are the areas they are standardized in CMSAS. Okay. The CMSAS defines the basic requirements. This we already seen. We already seen about the usability, portability. Okay. So when they are giving the helpful natures of usability, portability, system determination, common communication interfaces, all this. Okay. By using CMSAS, it does not limit the capability of embedded. This means we can develop any range of embedded application. From a small application, a medium application, or a complex application, we can use Cortex microcontroller software interface standard to develop those embedded products. Okay. Next, about organization of CMSAS. These are the CMSAS integration with device library and how it works with software, and how the software can be done to the different M0, M3 Cortex architecture, hardware. Okay, we'll see how it is organized, how it is helping, and all those features. Okay, how by organization, how it is organized. The CMSAS is divided into multiple layers. Okay, into different layers for different purposes. Those are there. There are 4 organizations of the CMSAS. One is core peripheral access layer. Second, middleware access layer. Third is with respect to third and fourth are with respect to MCU. MCU is nothing but microcontroller units. Okay, microcontroller units. Okay, it may be a Cortex M0, M0, Cortex M1, Cortex. Okay, third is device peripheral access layer. Fourth one is access functions for peripherals. This is how they are organized one by one. First core, next middleware, next device peripheral, third is access functions. Okay, we'll see. We will see one by one. Core peripheral we are in CMSAS organization. Well, how the layers are organized. Okay, the first one is core peripheral access layer. Core peripheral means Core means the general meaning of the core is the entire circuit area, the entire design area. Okay, whatever area, whichever area which contains the entire circuit, the entire design part, that is called core. Okay, what that core will include? Name definitions, address definitions, and helper functions to access core registers and core peripherals. What is this means? What is name definitions? We are writing a program, right? Okay, to store values, what we'll use? Variables, right? And what are we developing? We are developing embedded applications. Then embedded application development means there the involvement of registers. So the registers, how the registers will be accessed? With the help of memory map. How the memory map can be accessed? With the help of range of addresses. So we need to have address definitions. If you are using start memory, if memory, we need to give the starting address and the ending address like this, right? And size. So for variables, for and accessing the address, we will be using pointers. So we need to use address. So for variables, we will be defining name definitions. For when we are using pointer variables, we will be using address definition. Listen, naming the pointers will go to the address. Okay, so name definitions are there, address definitions are there, and helper functions to access core registers and core peripherals. Peripherals means other input ports and outputs, or other interface. You are serial interfaces are connecting to parallel ports, connecting serial ports. Those things. Okay, what is the meaning of core? Means the area, the part, or the part which contains the design information. Means it may be programmed. For example, in a C programming, we will take an example. What is the meaning of core? In a C programming, to get the username and display his name and welcome. Okay, we will take an example of C programming. Okay, the program is like that. Get the username and after getting his name, display his name with a welcome message. Okay, if a user enters, program is enter your user comes to the device. The device will ask, enter your name. He enters HKBK. Okay. When he enters HKBK, the next moment it should display welcome HKBK. Okay. And what is he entered? He entered only HKBK. Now the output displays welcome HKBK. That is one of the means. There should be input function and okay. So that is one example. And the middleware access layer. Common method to access peripherals for those software industry. This is to access the peripherals. The work is still in progress. Okay, targeted communication interfaces is common communication interface. Ethernet UART SPI we saw right in the previous slide. It has provided common communication interface for Ethernet UART SPI, and this middle and it allows portable software to perform communication tasks and any Cortex that support the required communication interface. This we saw in the previous slides in the aims. Okay, nothing new. They are just explaining the middleware access layer. Okay, they're working on the common method to access the peripherals, and they provide common interface standard for the different target devices. But there are different target devices. Target devices in Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M. Okay, they made common UART, common SPI, common Ethernet. Okay, and software portability and reusability for communication purposes. And how these layers are organized. Okay, we will try to construct the layers. Okay, before going to the organization of the CMSIS actual layers, how they constructed. The look of the picture. We try to construct that. If we construct, then the figure will be easy to understand. Okay, we are going to construct the CMSIS structure. Okay, there will be user, the OS which OS we are using, real-time operating system, because we are dealing with embedded systems. Okay, we don't need to use general purpose OS. We need to use ROS. Then CMSIS. Okay, then microcontroller. Can you relate this one? You can relate this one with respect to the first one, the first figure we saw. CMSIS coping up with the software and hardware. You can see the CMSIS is in the middle, the software part is here, the hardware part is here. Okay, the CMSIS software part, hardware part. Only thing is the user. Now the user came into picture. Okay, we'll see the user application code. Okay, Application code means we manufacture a mobile phone. We are given to the user. The user will be using the mobile phone. The mobile phone is nothing but the application code. Okay, we will go with the analogy. Then what about the Autos contains? It contains a real-time kernel, middleware components. Okay, okay, and it contains real-time kernel and middleware components. What is kernel? Kernel is the one thing which helps in the operating system to work properly, to function properly with respect to time management, memory management, all this scheduling management, process management, task management will be done by the OS with respect with the help of. Okay, there will be kernel. What type of kernel? Real-time kernel and middleware components. And what does CMSIS contains? Core peripheral functions, middleware access functions. Okay, these will be communicated from application code through Autos, OS, and CMSIS. Okay. Then the CMSIS also contains device peripheral functions. Okay, it may be a charging port or your speaker port. Okay, then the application code can interact with that, and it also contains registers. It also contains registers, peripheral registers, and interrupt exception vector definitions. Registers and vectors, you are seeing how the memory map is done, the vector style. Okay, it contains peripheral registers and interrupt exception vector definitions. The CMSIS contains core peripheral functions, middleware access functions, device peripheral functions. Okay. Core means with respect to the functionality of the design. Okay, means the internal parts. And the device peripheral functions means it may be a ports, the output ports, input ports. Okay, then it also contains peripheral registers and interrupt exception vector definitions. Okay, and the application, the user can directly interact with the CMS. Only the user can interact with the CMSIS for accessing core peripheral functions, middleware access functions. You need to use RTOS. You need to use embedded systems. For accessing registers and other ports, we don't need to use OS, but for accessing core peripheral functions, registers, and middleware access functions, we need to use RTOS through real-time kernel and middleware functions. Next, about the microcontroller unit. Okay, which microcontroller? It may be Cortex. It is Cortex M processor. It may be Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex. Okay, we'll see what Cortex M processor can make it. It will be having processor core. Definitely, it is an architecture. It needs to have a processor. You can consider as CPU. Okay, then SysTick. SysTick means with respect to clock. How the clock should work? Real time. So we need to have Autos kernel timer, real time operating system kernel timer, because the clock should work in a real time. What is the function name? SysTick. SIS tick. Next, NVAC, Nested Vector Interrupt Controller, is the famous one. Why? For handling interrupt, for handling exceptions. For handling interrupts, we got a special name for NVAC, Nested Vector Interrupt Controller. This we are releasing from the first module. Then debug trace interface. Okay, there's a debug trace interface. Now you are wondering, all this NVAC debug trace interface you have seen somewhere else. Here you see that this comes in the Cortex M3 processor architecture, right? Yes, the same thing we are seeing in the brief way. Okay, in the brief way. Okay, and the CMSIS can interact with this, all these components. See, the same thing we constructed CMSIS software part. Now other variables. This is similar. The last line, microcontroller unit, is nothing but similar to your Cortex M3 processor architecture, other than SysTick. SysTick, Cortex kernel. You can see your Cortex M3 architecture. Processor, there is a NVAC, there is a debug trace, and area for other, result for other. Okay, this is how the CMSIS structure is constructed. This is the actual picture, and this one we constructed. Okay. Next, we will continue organization of CMSAs. These are core peripheral access in the previous, and now we'll continue with the with respect to microcontroller unit specific. That is device peripheral access layer. It also contains name definitions, address definitions, and driver port to access. Okay. Name, address, driver with respect to that microcontroller, and access functions for peripherals. Okay, there will be optional additional helper functions for peripherals. Okay, we reserved some area for optional purpose, right, in our Cortex M3 architecture, similar for other purposes for which is working in this process. We will be reserving some area for optional additional helper functions for peripherals. For what? For peripherals. Next, using CMSIs. How to use this CMSIs? These are not how to use. Why using CMSIs? What are the things you need to be considered? Since the CMSIS is incorporated inside the device driver library, okay, there is no special set of requirements for using CMSIS products. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, we'll resume back. The next part is using CMSIS. Since the CMSIS is since the CMSIS is incorporated inside the device driver, there is no special setup requirement for using CMSIS in projects. Okay, when developing embedded projects using the Cortex M3 architecture and using Cortex M3 programming constraints, okay, I am using CMSIS, okay, for developing those applications. There is no special requirement to be set up for inclusion of the CMSIS explicitly, because by using CMSIS for with the Cortex M3, there is no need for explicit, because the device driver, what we include our programming construct, okay, it will only internally signifies. We are using CMSIS. For each microcontroller unit users, a microcontroller unit provides a header. Okay, for M0, for M1, Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M3, there will be some function variation. Okay, so there will be some one extra or some less header files. Okay, that or this is one scenario, or the scenario next is the different manufacturers. The vendors means manufacturer. One is they will have different companies. They are having a different set of they are developing a LCD screen keypads. Okay, they will give different styled return files, okay, which those different header files, okay, which pulls in additional header files, means which include the additional header files required by the device, including the core peripheral access layer. You can it's nothing but the different microcontroller unit, the M0 vendor, company 1, company 2, M1 Cortex M1 vendor, company 3, company 4. Like this, they will be developing they will be giving the header files, okay, which can be included our program. Okay, we will try to construct the organization of the header files. CMSIS, we will try to construct the header file. Okay, what are the list of files? The header file will be the device header file will be consistent. Okay, we will try to see CMSIS. Okay, that is the first one is the header file that is called device.h file. Okay, device.h file. Repeat, whatever the header file you include, it should be within the angle brackets. Less than and greater than are called as one type of bracket. They are called angle brackets. Okay, less than, greater than, this combination here is called as angle brackets. Okay, device, we need to mention the target boolean. Okay, within angle bracket device.h. This file, this header file consists of different files. Okay, along with this header file, there will be different startup code for different toolchain. Okay, while program you need to include header files and different startup codes. Okay, what are the codes? It's with the startup codes. Okay, with some initialization files you need to include. Okay, now we'll see the file structure. The file structure of the header CMSIS header file structure. Okay, it contains many files. First one is core cm3.h header file. Core cm3 with respect to core function. Cores underscore cm3.h header file. This is for core peripheral access layer. To access the core peripheral access layer, core peripheral layer, we need to use core underscore cm3.h header file. Next one is we need to have .c file. Okay, why? For interesting function implementation. For interesting function implementations, we need to have core underscore cm3.c. This one is header file to access the layer, and to access the functions, we need to use .c. Same name, but extension is different. We'll see the next one, system underscore device.h. This is used for interrupt, numbering the interrupts. Whatever the interrupt comes, to number those, and to peripheral register definition, to define the peripheral registers. We need to use system underscore device.h. Next one is system underscore device.c. Why? For initialization of the system functions. Okay, for initialization of the system functions. Next, the other header files will be with respect to the ports. It may be device peripheral access layer and additional functions. Okay, other header files will depends on the application. This is about the construction of the CMS sites. Okay, the organization of the header file is device.h. The name of the header file is device.h. The file organization is core underscore cm3.h, core underscore cm3.c, system underscore device.h, system underscore device.c, other header files. Okay, this is the file structure of the header file named as device.h. Okay. We'll see one by one. Core underscore cm3.h. M3 means CM3 first. Core is CM3 means or CM3 C cortex M3 cortex M3. CM3 means cortex M3. Okay. Core underscore CM3.h. Okay. CM don't think CM is something. CM is cortex. C means cortex in CM3. CM3 C is cortex. M3 is M3. Okay. This file contains the peripheral register definitions and access functions for the Cortex M3 processor peripherals like nested vector interrupt controller, system control block registers, and SysTick registers. This is on the core access layers and peripheral access layer. NVC system block registers. Same thing. The header file contains the definitions and functions for these. And to access the NVC, to control the registers, and to define the clock, okay, we need to have these register definitions and access functions for what? NVAC system control block registers and SysTick registers. This core underscore cm3.h file also contains a declaration of the CMSIS intrinsic functions. Why? To allow C applications to access instructions which cannot be generated easily by the C language standards. Which are those standards? IEC and ISO. Okay. In addition, this file also contains a function for outputting a debug message via the instrumentation trace ITM. The CMSIS intrinsic functions are compiler independent. What we saw in the first figure and the construction of the CMSIS organization figure also. Okay. What we saw? We saw in the hardware part Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M. And we saw that in the previous class also, the instructions, the compiler was same. Okay, RMCC compiler and RASM compiler. The same compiler can be used to compile the Cortex M0 program, Cortex M1 program, and Cortex M. Compiler. Next, the core underscore cm3.c. I repeat again, CM3 stands for Cortex. Okay, this C programming file contains, okay, the intrinsic function that contains the intrinsic function definitions. Okay, the intrinsic functions, the rotate function, it may be shifting functions, okay, which cannot be explicitly done by the C programming instructions. So the core underscore cm3.c contains contains the definitions of the intrinsic function implementation. Okay. Next, system underscore device.h. This contains specific, okay, with respect to particular microcontroller M0, M1, M0. So specific interrupt number definitions and peripheral register definitions. Okay, this is with respect to the microcontroller family. And system underscore device.c, same thing. Okay, this also with respect to microcontroller family. It contains specific function called system init. Okay, system init is the common system init for common function for defining the system initialization. Okay. Next, in addition, the CM/SAS compliant device drivers also contain startup code for various supported code types. Startup code is nothing but it contains the vector table. Okay, we are very much aware of that. CM/SAS supports intrinsic functions. Okay, the version of CM/SAS intrinsic functions will allow the embedded software to access all the processor code features on different C compiler products. A simple example of using CM/SAS is shown in figure 10.9, which is one of the application development. Okay, what we are talking about, I was telling that C programming, all this time. Okay, we saw the figures. Okay, how the C program will look, we'll see the next figure to develop a simple application. Okay, this is a C programming construct. Okay, while using Cortex M3 microcontroller to develop an embedded application with the use of CMS. This is a C programming construct. You can see the first line is hash include. This hash symbol, hash include space within double quote vendor underscore device.h. Okay, this is called header file. There are two ways of writing header files. One is using angle brackets. One is using the angle brackets. One is using the angle brackets. Right now, please observe there are two ways of writing programming construct header files. One is this one, header file, this way, this angle brackets, and this those types of header files are called compiler header files, the library file, the library header files, and the one header file which is there now you can see within double quotes. The header file is within double quotes. This is nothing but the user defined header. Okay, hash include within double quote vendor underscore device.h. Okay, this is not any specific. This is taken as a for example. Okay. Next, you can see the forward lines are there. These two slash lines are for comments. Okay, these are not executable comments. These are just for user purpose, readable purpose. It's not execution. Okay, I can see the main function is there. This is the main function, which is the important function, which called some all other functions. It's key display functions, taking input functions. All these will be called the main functions. You can see system init is there. System init function is there. Why? For initialization. Okay, to initialize the system before using it. And you can see nested interrupt controller. Okay, is there for interrupt. Why? To control the interrupt. One is you can see they have defined a function called set priority using the set priority function, interrupt set priority function, and enable function, enable interrupt request, IRQ interrupt request. NVAC underscore set priority for what? Communication, for setting the priority. This how we get the interrupt. You can take an example. Interrupt as inserting a pen drive, inserting a CD drive. I am giving the example. Inserting the pen drive, inserting the CD drive. What happens? A pop-up blocks will come. A pop-up block will come like this. I will see. I don't have any. Okay, you can experiment about inserting it. While use turn on your laptop, insert the pen drive. You can see one pop-up block comes. Okay, like this, or I can use receive send, receive. It's waiting for connections. It will wait for some time. After some time, if anything doesn't come, it will show some message. Right now, no open is there. So the pop-up log. Okay, you can see. So I'm. You can see the recording is going on. So recording is going on. See, as soon as I move my cursor, you can see something, a slideshow. You see, some box appear. This is the pop-up log. Okay. Then when we insert different external devices into our laptop, a pop-up log will come. Okay. For that, we need to have set priority. How to use that? Okay. We'll be using set priority for UART. Don't worry about the programming concept. Just understand what you are doing. Okay. We're using the NVIC set priority for communication, and we're using enable interrupt request. Okay. Enable interrupt request means when I connect the external device to my laptop, okay, pop-up box should come. Okay, that is nothing but the request. It will ask if I connect my mobile phone to my laptop, a dialog box will come. What will say? Open the different options will be there. Open the files like this. Open the device like this. Okay, that there should be request function when we connect external device to a laptop. And I can see this about the main function. The main function is ending here with this closing brace. Okay, this is the starting brace and the closing brace. That it's having main function. That's the main function. And we need to have different function for this one. We need to define separately. So we are defining the UART1. This is a separate function. UART1 interrupt request handler. It performs something. And sysdig underscore handler function. This performs some purpose. Okay, these are the two functions. You can see this is an example of a C program using C Cortex M3 software interface standard. It contains an header file. It contains a main function, and the main function is calling three functions. One is system initial function, system init function, and the set priority function, and enable function. And after main function, it is defining two functions. Okay, we'll see one by one. Okay, we'll see one by one. First one is common name for system initialization code from CMSI version 1.30. This function is called from startup. Okay. Next, what you see, NVIC is set up by core access function. Okay. The part, the arm is showing, and the brace is also showing that this is NVIC. Next one, interrupt request number. Okay, interrupt numbers. Interrupt request means we can see in the laptop there will be more than one port, one USB port. Okay, a few laptops will be having only one, other laptops will be two USB ports. USB ports, even you are connecting your mobile phone through the or your pen drive. The port which you connect to the laptop using pen drive, the port which you use to connect your pen drive, that is called, which you insert pen drive, it's called the USB port. Okay, that. So if there are more number of USB ports, then each will be having a different. You can insert more than one pen drive. So we need to number that. I'm just giving the example. Okay? So there should be numbering of those interrupt numbers defined. How to number those? We cannot define manually, but through the program. Before giving the product to the user, we need to define those functions in our place, in our program, in our application. Okay, that will be done by system_device.h. This header file will contain the instructions or programming construct how to number the incoming interrupts. Okay, for example, Vinayak comes at 9 o'clock. Okay, the time will restore. Vinayak enter class at 9. And next, Maria Sharif enters the clock at 9:05. Then the time entering of Maria Sharif is 9. Like this, the numbering. And then Akash comes at 9:10. So the numbering, the time, noting of the time entry of with respect to name. That's an example. That's numbering. That is called numbering. Okay. Of Next, the one application, the one function which is out of main function is peripherally interrupt names or device specific, defining device specific stuff. That is with respect to interrupt handling, and about exception handling. The program contains system installation, NVIC setup, how to access the interrupt handling, and handling system exceptions. Okay. Using the CMSIS, we'll continue. Okay, what are the different testers will be there? How to about interrupts and exceptions. Okay. To use CMSIS, okay, to set up interrupts and exceptions, we need to have functions defined within the systems underscore defined device.h. This is on the programs. Okay, these exception and interrupt constants are different from the exception number used in the code interface. For example, APS. IPS is one of the program status system for interrupt program status system. Okay. For CMSIS, negative numbers are for system exceptions and positive numbers are what we saw. Okay, we need to numbers. We need to numbers, right? There is a number ranging from negative to positive. Okay, the negative numbers are used for naming numbering the exceptions. Okay, and the positive numbers are used to number the interrupts. Okay, we saw in the program, we saw in this numbering of the interrupts. Okay, how to identify which is interrupt and which is exception. This is exception, this is interrupt. How to identify which is exception and which is interrupt. Okay, we'll use negative numbers for numbering the exceptions. We'll use positive numbers for numbering the interrupts. For development of portable code, we should use the core access functions. Okay, and middleware access functions. Okay, for developing the portable code, we should use core access functions and middleware access functions. By using the core access functions and middleware access functions, we can make the program portable. Okay, this allows the porting of software to be minimized between different Cortex. Okay, by using of this. This is the subpoint of this. That's not a separate one. The subpoint of that. Okay. By using the core access functions, and middleware functions, we can make the program portable. The program it can be executed in different platforms. Now this is suggested. Okay. Pardon me for that. Next, the last part of CMSIS. Pardon me, I'm taking too much time, so I can finish up CMSIS. Okay, this is the last part. The benefits of using CMSIS. The benefits are this is nothing new. I will repeat the same thing on the first slide. Why? Why it is developed to improve the portability and reusability. What portability? Software portability. That is the first part. The main advantage of CMSIS is it gives much better software portability and reusability. Next point is CMSIS allows software to be quickly ported between Cortex M3 and other Cortex M processors, reducing time to market. This was not we didn't I didn't tell or we didn't come across till now. This is the new thing for us. We knew that we can develop application quickly, but now we are knowing that the benefit of Cortex CMSIS is one is software portability and reusability. The second one is quick portability. Okay, portability means switching. The same program can be used in different applications, different architecture. It may be always different ways. Instead of saying ways, different architecture. M0 or whatever application developed M3 can be can also used in M0. Somewhat different. Okay. So the portability can be done quickly. That's the second advantage. The third advantage is that the product, whatever the product which is developed with the CMSA, their software products can become compatible with the device drivers from multiple microcontroller vendors. Okay, including future microcontroller products that are yet to be released. Okay, we can means what are other products, upcoming products can also be benefited. That is shown in figure 10. We will see what is figure 10 and why they are mentioned that advantage with figure. We'll see why I am also curious. CMSI, the third advantage is the figure name says CMSIS avoids overlapping of driver. I was wondering why they are giving the advantage figure in that because it was avoids overlapping driver. Okay, we cannot easily express in words, so that they are giving figure diagram. Okay, the overlapping, avoidance of overlapping with CMSIS. How it is different from other processors. Okay, Cortex processor. The third advantage is the CMSIS avoids overlapping of driver. Here are two parts we shall see. First one is without CMSIS. Okay, the embedded application is developed. The embedded application is developed without using CMSIS, and this is this part. This part is developed. These are the two applications, embedded applications. This is developed without using CMSIS, and this is developed with using CMSIS. With using, we are trying to see the third advantage of the CMSIS will avoid overlapping of the driver programs, driver codes. For that, we are taking in a common application, one application which is developed without using CMSIS, and one application with using CMSIS. Okay? Application without CMSIS consisting of embedded OS or middleware needs to include processor co-access functions and might need to include a few peripheral drivers. We'll see this one. Okay. First, we'll consider an application is developed without CMSIS and application with CMSIS. Later, we'll read out this last one. Okay. First, the application will contain what? Application absolutely it should have an application part. It should have an application program, application interface. Okay, and it should have an OS. Okay, it should have an OS. One application which is having the device, the product. Okay, it's having it will be having application and embedded. This is definite. Both will have application and application program and OS, and OS will be that device. Okay, I repeat again. We are taking an example of the same device. The same device, one which is developed once it is developed without CMS. Same device which is developed with CMS. Okay. Now, what is the difference? What is the difference? You can see there is a device library. The different microcontroller vendors provide driver levels. This will be different, and OS driver library. Okay. This will vary from vendors. And you can see that there is a common driver library for different microcontrollers. Okay. There's a separate driver library for different microcontroller parts. Different. It may be a microcontroller M0, microcontroller M1, microcontroller M3. So the M0 should use their own supporting device libraries. Cortex M1 should use their own supporting device libraries. Cortex M3 should use their own supporting device libraries. Okay. Okay. That is with respect to hardware. And for OS also, Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M3, all should have different OSs. But whereas by using CMSIS, you will be having a common device library. This is we saw in the very first figure. There is a common device library when you use CMSIS for all Cortex M0, Cortex M1, Cortex M3. Okay. So when you have different in this application without CMSIS, different libraries and for my hardware, different libraries, driver for OS, so definitely connections will be done. We'll see how it is. Okay. Connections with peripherals, connection with processor. Okay, you need to connect to the input ports, output ports. You need to use serial interface. Okay. parallel interface devices. Okay, so when there are different device driver libraries for hardware and for OS, the connections will be complex. How the connections will be done, we'll see. See the connections for the application with CMSIS, it's direct. They can directly connect, easily connect. Instead of direct, they can easily connect. Okay, they can easily connect with the peripherals, input ports and output ports and the processor board, instruction bus, the data bus. You can connect easily. But whereas here you can see complex. The complexity increases. See, you need to connect the interconnection with complex. Why? Because there are separate libraries for hardware part and separate device for OS part. Whereas the driver library is common. I repeat again, we are developing an application. The third application is CMSIS avoids overlapping driver code. Okay, why CMSIS provides common device library for all the Cortex M series family. Okay, the application, the embedded application which is developed without using CMSIS. Okay, that application contains embedded OS or middleware. Okay, which needs a processor core, access functions, and might need to include a few peripheral drivers. Without CMSIS, there is a separate driver library for microcontroller boards, separate library, device library for operating system. So the connections will be somewhat extra bus needs to be included. Whereas an same application which is developed using CMSIS, which includes embedded OS or middleware, they can use standardized core access because the driver library, the device driver libraries are common. Okay, there's a common device library for which can cope up with the different Cortex in series families. Cortex will be having a common device library when using CMSIS. Okay, so pardon me for taking too much time for the third point. And we'll continue. For fourth point is the CMSIS has a small memory footprint, less than 1 KB for all core access in a few bytes. It takes very small amount of memory for files, less than 1 KB. Fifth point is it also avoids overlapping of core peripheral driver code and using software code from other projects. Okay, it avoids overlapping. The sixth point is since CMSIS is supported by multiple compiler vendors, embedded software can compile and run with the different compilers. This we saw in the earlier also. The compiler is common. So the compiler instruction is command is common, or CC for C programming compiling, or AC for assembly programming compiling. Okay, thus by using CMSIS we can execute our program and run our program on different compilers. Okay, the compilers provide different compilers, or we can run the same program in different company compilers. Okay, and then pardon some mistake. Is the seventh point. Pardon. The seventh point is all CMSIS complaint device complaint, not complaint supporting. Complaint is supporting device driver libraries have similar structure. Okay, when they have the file structure, you saw the file organization, right? This figure, this file organization. Okay, this file organization. Okay, they have got similar file structure. So learning of different learning tools, different Cortex M3 microcontrollers is even easier. As the software interface has similar look and feel, no need to relearn a new application programming interface. Okay. By using CMSIS, it will be easy to adapt to the new Cortex M3 subseries. Okay. CMSIS is tested by multiple parties and is supported, and it follows MISRA compliant. MISRA compliant is a standard. MISRA is the famous. Okay, MISRA stands for. I'll tell what is MISRA. MISRA is nothing but it stands for Motor Industry Software Reliability Association. Okay, MISRA is not the name of a person. It stands for Motor Industry Software Reliability Association. You are developing your application using C program. Okay, C program is a general purpose program. but we are using to develop embedded applications. So when we are developing embedded applications, we will be using different components: LCD screen, LED screen, LED bulb, switch buttons, sensors. All this will use, but all this will vary from company to company. So one, when we are developing, when we are writing program to these device functionality to make this device function, so we need to follow some set of regulations. That set of regulations are made easier, okay, and somewhat um, helpful to the designers. That, that easier guidelines and regulations are framed by the MISRA, Motor Industry Software Reality Association. This helps the C programmers, particularly embedded C programmers, okay, by following these guidelines, they can write efficient C programming for embedded applications. Okay, MISRA complaint helps the embedded C programmers um, for developing, for writing efficient C program for embedded applications. Okay, by following MISRA complaint, MISRA guidelines, we, thus, thus the CMSS helps in reducing the validation effort required for developing your own MVC or core feature access functions. Validation. See, validation word finally came. By following the guidelines, we say efficient program. Efficient program can be. By following the guidelines, you are very much confident. By following the MISRA guidelines, MISRA complete. So to write a embedded C programming, okay, you are very much efficient because the guidelines, the MISRA will use the proper validation. So the means validation is the checking the programming, whether the programming is efficient or not. Okay, that validation, that programming efficient, to know the way program is efficient or not, that validation is reduced by following MISRA guidelines. MISRA complaint. By following MISRA complaint, the validation effort is reduced. Okay, this is about the CMSIS, Cortex Microcontroller Software Interface Standard. Okay, we saw the, the complete CMSIS things. Okay, the file organization, the layers system, and we saw the benefits also. Next class, the last part is about using assembly language to develop Cortex MP application. And to use the assembly language programming, and check the embedded application. Okay. That assembly language is what? Cortex MP assembly language. Use the Cortex MP assembly instructions. Simple application. We saw in the last, while using C programming, we saw blinking of LED. Can we see what example can be used? Cortex can be used by Cortex M3 assembly instructions. What example can be developed using Cortex M3